Yeah, so Arvind, we really appreciate your work, and you are doing a really good cause, and everything is good in that sense. If we have to look at, but if you look at the thing realistically, it feels like it's a drug. Whatever you had mentioned. Even if I'm a vegetarian, I'm not a non-vegetarian. Still, I'm not a vegan. I'm consuming, and I'm as much as responsible for the animals as a meat eater, because the dairy industry and all this stuff. So this is a kind of drug which is imbibed into the society, and it is not like we are not able to identify the problem also, which you are coming and making people realize about it. So when if we talk about that sense into a drug, when in 80s the Colombian drugs was Colombian drug mafia in US was very active, and so what the DEA did that time was they targeted the market instead of the supply chain. So have you ever tried to get into the supply chain instead of directly targeting the consuming and
You
the
mean
market?
the people who produce meat, dairy, and eggs? Okay. So I will try to give like a proper response on this.
Yeah.
Firstly, we have to understand that majority of the meat, dairy, and egg production, those who are actually involved on grounds doing the killing task or milking task or whatever it is, are people from extremely impoverished backgrounds in our country. It's almost as if it's been set up this way, where they are pretty much stuck in that. They don't have any other alternative to immediately move to. And if they don't kill that animal, they may not get money. Not everyone's in that position, but a lot of people who are involved in this industry are in that position. Now, if I go there and speak to them and tell them to stop doing it, try giving them jobs, the media, of course, different political groups, and people are going to come up and spin this story in a completely different angle. Arvind here wants to destroy poor people. Arvind hates poor people. He is a... Now, I come from just being completely honest about this stuff. I just like speaking always very casually with people. I come from a Tamil Brahmin background. Okay, I was born that way. I did not choose my religion. I did not choose what caste I was born into. But for some reason, that is always, I'm always labeled with that caste. Oh, look, this caste guy, he wants to now, again, like how his ancestors did many things in the past, he wants to now come and trouble people of a different caste. So people will try to spin it in this angle. So first, the communal angle, that's one difficult thing. Second thing is, unless, like I told, if I am a billionaire and I can immediately provide jobs to these people, they'll jump ship immediately. There's no question for them, because wherever money is, we go. Let's be honest. That's how we all study hard to get a job where we're paid well. So
these are hypothetical things. We can talk about a little more realistically, like what
realistically
we can do.
right now at this point in time you can't do anything for that, right? Because even let's talk about the people on top. If I go and talk to them, they'll ask me to get the hell out. They wouldn't even tolerate me, because right now they are comfortable being rich, making money, being financially stable and powerful in the society. Why will they want to give that up because a chicken feels pain? Right? They have so much to benefit from that violence. So they are not going to stop that way. Which is why the best way, if you want to hurt these companies and make them crash on their knees, punch them where it hurts, and that's their wallet. The moment the consumer base starts declining and they're no longer getting profits, they'll begin to panic. At that point, they look at the economy and see like, okay, what is major consumption here? Okay, not meat, but vegan foods. Watch as those meat and dairy companies start producing vegan options then. They will do that. So at this point in time, us being common people, that's the only thing we can do. You're right, it is like a drug-like effect, talking to those people, and plus the government's on their side. And how do we measure growth in this country and the world over right now? Through GDP, through money, which is the root of all evil. So we measure how progressive we are as a country by measuring how much money we make. And you make the most amount of money by exploiting innocent animals, they're not going to stop. You have to hit them where it hurts, just their wallet, and that can be done by changing our demand. Once we stop consuming from them those products, that'll hurt, they will have to shift. Apart from that, at this moment in time, we just can't target those groups. They are too big. In fact, that's why I quite hesitate to use certain company and brand names, because if someone did record this here right now and send it to them, they'll put a case against me. They'll get me thrown in jail. So they're waiting to get me caught right now. So they're not going to listen. From my side right now, we can't do anything. Like I told you, unless, first of all, we vegans are even noticed by the public and the government as a group that exists who we also need to cater to, nothing can be done. And we are so minuscule right now, we first have to focus on growth. So that's what I'm doing. So to answer your question, I don't have an idea or strategy on that. Do you have anything? Yeah.
So if we have to you are spreading consciousness about the food
Mm-hmm.
to the crowd, basically to the masses. And not everything is for masses. You need a classes. So there goes a systematic thing. If you have to get things work, so there are few strategies which people uses for to get a control over certain things, certain markets. So there is a strategy called influence the influencer. Have you tried that?
Could you explain to me what that
So
is?
basically, if a group of people look up to a particular leader, and if you are able to influence that particular leader to your cause, and then things could work that other way, rather than going to the masses and
But let's say,
having
for example,
street
influencing.
fights.
Okay, let's say influencing a particular leader. Like, what are the actions that myself or one must do for that to happen? Could you explain? Like, what do you mean by that exactly?
So no, I'm just saying, like, you have a really good cause and people believe in your cause. You must have a really good following. So in those following, you could have like lots of potential people who are celebrities, kind of leaders in different kinds of domain. So they can like push for the cause.
Okay, this is quite similar to what I responded to him as well. The fact is that celebrities or someone, if someone wants to themselves speak about this cause, I'm no one to stop them. They can obviously do that. But I am not going to go and put this cause in someone else's shoulders, because there's a chance they might just drop it when it's not comfortable for them. And also they might start spreading. What about celebrities who say they went vegan, and then I try to teach them healthy ways of eating and sensible things? There are some celebrities, for example, they will do these crazy things, like after becoming vegan, they'll stop eating cooked food. They'll eat only raw fruits and vegetables for like 2 years, lose all weight, become sickly and stuff. Veganism didn't work for me. Veganism is dangerous. Don't become vegan. What if that happens? So I am not going to go out of my way. Excuse me. Sorry. To ask anyone else to speak on behalf of the animals when I can do it myself. And as for people, again, if I truly can find someone who is accepting the things I say and also is a vegan, then of course they can also promote. But I find at this point in time, whenever we speak about veganism, there is so many other questions and misunderstandings associated with it. So it's important that the person speaking also has the capability to make the audience understand and also teach them in the right way. Not everyone is that proficient. It's not like I'm boasting about myself, but I'm just saying not everyone is that knowledgeable or proficient in that, which is why I choose to rely mainly on myself. I am just the kind of person, but like you mentioned again, there are many groups and organizations who do write to celebrities. They come and say like, hey, look, this celebrity is vegan, or become vegan, but that celeb is not even vegan. And they post stories on Instagram cooking turkey the next day. Like, that's a joke then, right? If that happens, how can anyone take my cause seriously if that happens? So which is why I choose to do it myself that way.
So what about imbibing fear? Like 2 days back, I was reading an article by United Nations something, and they were warning about a potential pandemic, because of the virus which is present, like H5N1, so the bird flu kind of, and it could cause, we are the generation sitting here, we had seen a pandemic, but we have seen lockdowns, we have seen how governments react to it, and this potential pandemic could, which is foreseen by lots of organizations all over the world, could directly lead us into an emergency kind of situation. So what about those things, those strategies to advocate the veganism and the animal right activism into the people who
if
don't
the
know?
information we are giving is scientifically true, I'm okay with that. I think it's very important we be scientifically true though, because if we make stuff up just for the sake of scaring people and then people understand we're lying, they'll never listen to us. We mustn't deceive people.
No, not deceiving, but
scientifically saying.
Scientifically, I'm saying.
Scientifically, if that is the case, that can be done. Although we have to understand that that is not the best argument to give for not eating chicken, because those chickens develop bird flu and avian influenza because they are kept in such unhygienic, horrible conditions. So if tomorrow we start keeping them in more hygienic conditions, those viruses will not exist, right? So there is a way to raise animals in which pandemics don't spread. It is possible to raise animals in a so-called sustainable way, in a way in which we humans don't necessarily have to suffer or face repercussions. But the animal is still suffering then. So my message, what if tomorrow that what you think comes true and we create a world where now animals are still suffering and dying, but just in a way where we humans don't face the repercussions anymore? That's not the world I want to create. The world I want to create is a world where animals are liberated and free. And so for that, I don't think that tactic would necessarily work. We have to ask people to take the onus on themselves and make the change themselves. And the only thing I think, I'm not saying my method is the most effective or the most perfect way at all, but someone who changes for ethics cannot go back. If it's for my health, I mean, I can eat more plant-based food. Once a week I can eat chicken and I can be fine. Just like how once a week I can smoke and I can be fine, right? So I believe the health message, the environmental message, or even the message regarding like scaring people is not the most effective one. We really need to get people to change, and for that we have to they need a strong motivator to change and stay changed. And the only thing that will keep them changed forever is the ethical reason.
And also collaborating with the other people's, like, a Satvik movement you must have seen.
Of course.
So they have a very good, they had come like really recently, and they had a very good community with them.
You mean
and
in this campus?
I think there are more, such kinds of organizations they are creating. So like it's a chain effect kind of they are doing. So and they had, that started through a touch of spirituality. And when you're saying, you can't, you are an atheist, and the job you are doing is making people conscious about their food. So consciousness is directly, somehow it's related to the spiritualism. So why don't you, approach, bang that door?
Because if I speak that way, I would be lying to the public, because what I speak has to come from here. How can I speak about something that I myself don't believe in? If I don't believe in it, how can I speak about it? Then people will say, are you first of all religious or spiritual? No. Then be quiet. Don't even talk about something you're not knowledgeable about, right? So I stick to my lane. I try to inspire the people who think like me. Obviously, I can't inspire anybody. Have you heard of a man named Acharya Prashant?
Acharya?
Prashant.
Yes.
So he has a huge following. He's also a vegan. And he speaks about the spiritual aspect of veganism. So I can't speak about that because I neither am spiritual or religious or have any knowledge on that. So those who have the knowledge on that, let them do it that way. And as for people like myself who speak about the scientific, rational and other approach, I'll do it my way. We need all different forms of approach. I am not against any particular approach, by the way. And regarding what you told again, like collaborating with other people, I will collaborate with people only if I know for a fact that they too agree upon certain basic standards I have. If not, the worst thing that can happen is you collaborate with someone and tomorrow they start promoting something which you are against, and you begin misleading your audience, or the whole public looks at you and like, okay, so all this time so Arvind is trying to do this, that I don't want that name, which is why I tend to stick to myself. That's my answer.
I really appreciate you, man, and you are doing really a good cause. In Marathi we say "Mukya प्राणांसाठी आवाज उठवणारा." So that means you are speaking for the one who can't speak for themselves. Really appreciate your work, and
Thank you.
So grateful for your work.
Thank you, bro.